Hello, welcome to another pipe smoking video and thank you for joining me. Started there with a picture of a Spitfire and there's a very good reason for that. I don't know if you've got that picture, it's quite famous. Turns up in all sorts of places apparently, tins, biscuit tins, you know, people have got prints of it on their wall, been around for some time. It was painted, it's been on my wall for some time as well, Barry A.F. Clark. Lovely fella. And the reason I say that is that Julia and I, when you get to see this video, we will, fingers crossed, because I'm recording this before then, will be in his company, looking at some of the other pictures that he's done. He did this one here. This is a very nice one. I don't know whether this will, let's see if this will focus on it. Did it? If it didn't, I'll do a photograph and stick it in. Anyway, we're seeing him on Sunday. He got in touch with me actually and said to me one day when I was on my other channel, he said, oh, Richard, I noticed you got my picture on your wall. And I thought to myself, what do you mean, your picture? I bought it in a charity shop, thanks very much, for £10. And he said, no, I don't mean that. I mean the picture I painted. Now, he painted this some time ago and it became quite a hit. But there's a story behind it. And as I understand it, it wasn't originally going to be a Spitfire. It was actually going to be the Red Baron. So not only was it not the Brits or the English in the plucky spirit of the Battle of Britain with a Spitfire, it was going to be a Hun in the Red Baron in a different war. But something happened. Now, we will be seeing him, as I say, so I'm going to get the full story. Anyway, today I'm going to be smoking Al from the pair that was sent to us. Very nice pipe. Al and Bert from Albert. Thank you very much. And I do smoke this from time to time, particularly when I want a nice, long, smooth smoke, and I've got the time, you know, and these days one's been quite busy, so it fills up quite a bit of the old tobacco. And what am I going to smoke in it, I hear you cry? What are you going to smoke in it? Pardon? What are you going to smoke in it? What am I going to smoke in it? Yeah. I'm going to smoke in it something called, from Wilson's of Sharrow, I think it is, or Sharrow of Wilson's, one of the three, pick your own. No, not pick your own. So it's not cabbages or tomatoes or raspberries, gooseberries or any of those. Loganberries. Have you ever smoked Loganberries? No, not really. I am smoking Contemplation. My friend Ed, hello Ed, he's fast become, as I think I mentioned last week actually, he's fast become my tobacco runner. He texted me the other day and he said, Richard, I'm going into Reading to the tobacconist there. Do you want anything? And at first I thought, no, I've got a few things, because he came down last week with a few little joys, which was very nice. So I sprinkled some on there, and I should have used my lovely little thing. I always use this little thing. It's marvellous, absolutely marvellous. Anyway, and then I thought, well, actually, if I get him to get the tobacco, it saves on postage and packing. So he got me, I said, well, just, because I was put on the spot a little bit. So I said, well, what have they got? And he said, well, they've got a lot. Yes, I'm sure they have. So it's actually, I don't read this. It's not in this. It's in a different tin. In fact, there's a tin, I don't know if you can see it up there. It's just, there's a tin up there of the same thing, but I could have put it in there, but I forgot when I was doing the thing. Let me have a slurp of coffee before we get going. Anyway, he came round the other night and he very kindly brought the Contemplation, and we had a pipe and we had a smoke. And he's doing very well with his pipe collection. I can't remember how many he's got now, 272? Or is it 5? Anyway, he's got a number of pipes and he does a bit of driving. And I told him about the Chris Herriot trick of putting a little pipe cleaner in the top of the pipe bowl when you're carrying around in your pocket. I think it's great because it kind of seals it, and you've also then got a pipe cleaner to clean the pipe out afterwards. Whilst we're on the subject of labels, now I'm hoping I can find this because this was sent to my email account. I've got to go and rummage around to see if I can find it. But have a look at this. And if I have found it, I've put it on the screen. If I haven't found it, you're just looking at me, and I can't remember now which one it is. And no doubt I'll edit this out if I couldn't find it, or I'll just leave it in because it's quite comical, or maybe it isn't. So this was one of my viewers, and he's said, this is what I do with the tobacco tins. So anything that you need, he can create it, apparently, and then you print it out and stick it onto the tobacco tin, which I think is marvellous. I'm still looking for some more old-fashioned tobacco tins with the enamel printing on, because, you know, they're the nicest of all. And they don't have any pretensions of these government messages. It's just all of that nonsense that they shove on. Let's get the pipe going, for goodness sake. Less talking. And there it is, a little bit of contemplation. I think it's a little aromatic. You'll have to tell me because you're the expert. I don't know anything about any of this. But it's smooth. Now, my friend Ed, he takes it down because he's a smoker in terms of roll-ups. So he still takes it down. So he looks for the sort of nice, smooth one. So, and his favourite at the moment, I think, is Chieftain's Lazy Day Mixture. I've got one up on my shelf there. I figured the way for me, or one of the ways for me to know out of all the millions of different tobaccos which ones I've liked so far, is I've got stacks of tobacco tins over here, but favourite ones end up on the, I haven't got a lot of space, on the shelves there. And so then I know if if somebody says, what can I get you? I can just look up there and go, oh yes, get me some deluxe mixture from Peterson's, or what's that one at the top there? I can't read that. It's another something of somebody or other. Anyway, what's been going on this week? Well, if I can get the pipe going, I'll tell you. Sorry about not doing them in the middle of the week. I was hoping to do that. I just got a bit busy, really. So I think at the moment it's just going to carry on with once a week. That's more manageable. So, first exciting thing is my book Biggleswick, The Town That Wouldn't Comply. Was doing some photographs for that. Got the cover sorted now. Finished the proofreading my end and the grammar with Julia. And we've ordered a couple of paperback editions which I shall be sending to my proofreaders to read it. And then I shall order, add those changes, if there are any, which I'm sure there will be, to the final master text, and then that will go out and it's done. And then we'll get the hardback printed. Been working in the meantime, of course, on the pipe book. That's another little novel of short stories. I've spoken to you about that. That's coming on. That's a bit slow because I've been working on other things. And also, I think I mentioned it, I can't remember. I've been reading a bit of Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence. That's not Lawrence of Arabia, that was a different Lawrence. And I'm not terribly far in. It's a weird book. It is a weird book. Came out in the 1920s, didn't it? And they had the law case and everything for profanity and these sort of things. Yes, it is a sort of thing about sex and what have you. I don't know if I'm going to finish it, to be honest. I like reading, and I don't mind being challenged a bit. And of course it was a book of its time, and we've been told it's a classic. But it's a very weird style of writing, the way he writes. It's not really my cup of tea, to be honest. I'll give it a bit more. I'll give it another week or so. But I'm not somebody who, if I really just think, do you know what, I can't persevere with this, I'm going to give up. I'm not somebody who says, no, I've started, so I've got to finish. Life's too short for all of that. I want to read books, particularly at the moment where I'm trying to, flourish some skills as a novelist. I want to read books which are going to teach me something. So I don't mind being challenged, and I don't mind different styles. But if I feel that actually it's too frivolous or it's too stylish, or what's the word, where it's sort of arty for the sake of it, where it goes up its own backside, then I ain't interested. There's a lot of art, it seems to me, that's like that. There's a lot of stuff that people collect, and they get a bit hung up on, the prestige of it, the brand name, or the artist, and they embroil. Is that the word? Imbibe? No, they put into the. I can't think of the right word. They imbue. Is it? They imbue something into that's not really there, and it gets a bit pretentious. I remember reading. That went down the wrong hole. I remember reading Harold Pinter's play. I may have mentioned this before because I think this is just a classic thing about pretentious things. He wrote this play called The Caretaker, and in The Caretaker there is this old doddery bloke, the caretaker, scruffy caretaker, and then there's two brothers, and one of the brothers is people kept saying was he's like represents Satan. The other one represents God, and the caretaker himself is supposed to represent man. And people made all these different assumptions about what the play was about and the interpretation of what Pinter was trying to say. And Pinter would hear about all these things and he would laugh, because as he turned round one day to speak, I think to a newspaper reporter or a magazine or somewhere, and where it was recorded, he said, no. He said, they see all these things into this play that I haven't put there. This is a play about a caretaker and two brothers who are arguing about the ownership of this house and how it should be run. And that's it. It has its own little plot line, but there is none of this deeper level. And he says, I find it hilarious that people do. Anyway, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but that seemed to be the point of it. And there are. It does seem to me, loads of people who put themselves up as some authority on something. If it's not this, it ain't proper. Or if it's not that, it isn't, and suddenly the old snooty side of things come in, and the spirit of the situation or the spirit of the object or the soul of it just disappears into that kind of, well, it's not, if it's not made from pewter, or if it's not made from real silver, or if it's imitation so and so, it's not, and only I've got the right knowledge and all of these things. And you just go, and I think it's the same with authors. Some people get a bit, and so we all like what we like, don't we? Anyway, enough of that gay banter. Thank you very much. The other thing I wanted to mention, I'm hoping this will be a shorter one than last week, because last week was a bit long. Julia and I have been looking at land, and there's land all over the place, and some of it's good and some of it's bad, and some of it's too expensive, and some of it's got rights of way on it or other things that are useless. Anyway, we've looked at one particular one that we like, and we're just sort of debating about that one at the moment, and talking to the people, and who knows, it may not happen, it may happen, but we're at that early stage, where you're going, oh, right, this is interesting, isn't it? And it's all very trepidatious. But I think we could make a go of it. It would be quite rustic. We would be very much depending on ourselves. But we'll be back in nature. And there may be enough space to grow some tobacco. Not that I'm too worried about growing tobacco, to be honest with you. I mean, people do it, and generally it turns out not very good. Because the tobacconists who know what they're doing, I mean, it takes a long time, doesn't it? Not only have you got to grow it, you've got to dry it, and then you've got to ferment it, or you've got to chop it, and you've got to blend it, and you've got to do this and do that. And I don't know that unless that is your thing 100%, it's probably a lot of hard work for just, but it could be a bit of fun, you know. So I'm not knocking it. I think we'll give it a go ourselves, but I'm not seriously thinking that we are going to end up with a decent crop of tobacco. But, you know, you've got to try these things, haven't you? Well, we've got to get the land first of all, but we're very excited. I think this is where we're going now. We have this connection, and we've been in this connection, reading old books about farming, wanting to understand the fertility of the land, producing our own food, connecting with nature, following it through some of the old crafts and things, you know, the whole 9 yards really. We don't want to just, it's not about retiring onto the land in the country just as a plaything. We want to actually work it and get our hands dirty, and, you know, that's really where we are. And we know it's going to be hard work, and we don't have deep, endless pockets. So that's where we're going to do some interesting, we've got some amazing ideas, by the way. We're going to do some interesting and fun things. But, you know, until we get the land, it's all pie in the sky, isn't it? It's all pie in the sky. I'm enjoying the contemplation. The great thing about having that is being in the countryside and being able to contemplate, getting back to yourself, understanding who and what you are, and the meaning of life, really, for us. Everybody has their own meaning of life, don't they? Some people are more materialistic and find that that's where their solace is, and others are less so. I think we'll be finding ourselves less and less materialistic. There'll be a few things that we need, but you know, the endless buying things that people do, don't they? Especially online now, because at the touch of a button you can have whatever you want. It's like being a little kid again, isn't it? I want, I'll have, I must. Ever searching for that happiness, and then, oh, this thing, yeah, it's great, really nice, and then it's gone. It's a 5-minute wonder. You see it at Christmas, don't you? Kids opening their presents, and it's a 5-minute wonder. The things that people really treasure are those times with one another, the smiles, the laughter, the things that you do, the sense of achievement, perhaps, rather than just the purchasing of something and holding it up and looking at it and doing, you know. That's not to say, of course, it's nice to buy a few necessary tools for the work that you need to do. But for us to move out of the town, to be in the countryside, to be able to just sit there and listen to the countryside and smoke your pipe, watch the sunrise, watch the sunset, whatever, you know, depending on where we are. Anyway, it may all be a pipe dream at the moment, but we're setting our intention, we're putting our down payment, as they say, and we're going for it. So on that note, I shall leave you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for watching. And yes, next week, I'll tell you if we manage to reach Barry. He's down in deepest, darkest Kent, and his amazing picture of the Spitfire. Until next time, take care, look after yourselves, and have fun. Toodle pipe.